And we are live, transmitting in full effect from the COACHMC studio. And let's wait for some people to wire up to this new chat here that is happening live on YouTube. Let's wait for some people entering the chat room, saying hello to everybody, to the creative community out there. It's another crazy, beautiful, creative Sunday. I hope everybody is all right. Welcome everybody to the COACHMC studio. This is the place where we'll help you to shape unique behavior deliveries and where we'll help you to get recognized in the audition room. And today, it's all about the technical aspect of our beautiful job, which is to connect with people, how important it is, how it's been done, and what you can do right away as soon as this video ends to connect to the relevant players, to have more impact in your sector, in your industry, to have more networks going on for yourself, and how easy that is. I will try to illustrate. It's not simple to put it into action because, of course, as for everything, we need consequence, we need consistency, and we need a certain form of resilience inside of us to deal with no's and setbacks and smashed and closed doors in front of us. But hey, there's nothing more important than connecting with the right people and staying up to date with everything that happens. So let me welcome all the beautiful entertainers, performers, the actors, stand-up comedians, all the beautiful sellers, pitchers, all the people out there who need to communicate in a very effective way, who are out there doing the great work, doing the good job, and also to all the actors, the newbies that are just starting off and they're asking themselves, how am I going to survive in this entertainment industry ocean, right? How am I going to find the right island where I kind of find my home turf? Where is it that I need to go? And to all the veterans out there, to all the actors who already kind of achieved their statement and have a certain status, how can I develop even more? How can I grow even more with my networks? How is it that maybe I'm stuck in a certain niche? Is it because I'm not connecting to the right people? That probably is one of the reasons. And how can I do that? How can I overcome those obstacles and make way for myself? So a big welcome to all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining the show once again. Hit me in the chat room as well if you got any other questions. And just because you're here and you took some time off of your precious Sunday, and I did as well, to deliver something efficient for you guys, something tangible, just leave a like of appreciation. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't so far. I just humbly request that because it helps us a lot to make this endeavor possible also in the future. The more subscribers we are, the more traction the channel gets, and the more and more people will watch it. And these minutes, they are healthy for our ecosystem, for our organism. They help us to stay alive and to stay grounded and to stay motivated. So of course, subscribe to the channel and shoot this video out there to your creative community if you thought that this content had any value. So there are so many facets to being a communicator, to being an actor. There are so many facets to this job because it's a job that never finishes to surprise us, and it never finishes to challenge us in so many different ways. Because as soon as we left drama school, our perception was maybe for the actors like, okay, now I'm getting into an agency, and from there on I can just wait for the phone call and get into the room, and then once I nail the callback and the chemistry reading, they're going to book me for the role, right? That this is how it goes. But actually, of course, you need also to connect to people so they get to know you, because just because you left drama school, just because you graduated with a degree in performing arts, or just because you've done a couple of workshops, that doesn't mean necessarily that everybody knows who you are and is awaiting you with open arms. They probably don't have any clue that you even exist as an actress, as a performer, as a seller, right? And that's an advantage, and I really mean that, because in the beginning we might think, okay, this is sort of a mountain, right? It's impossible to climb because so many things are happening. and I need to know so many things. I'm sorry, I just got confused because something happened on my laptop. I'm back on track. So many things going on, right? I need to nail the roles. I need to look perfect all the time. I need to make headshots every 6 months. I need to stay in touch with the latest developments and currents in my field. I need to drive around to all the auditions and make sure I get into the audition. And I need to have a nice relationship with my agent. And then I also have to search for new instruments. So there's a lot of work. There's a lot of self-improvement, a lot of consistency required to make it, right, in entertainment industry. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do all these things all at the same time with this equal amount of intensity, because that will just drive you mad and insane. But depending on the time that you have, the context you are right in, let's say you're just freshman in acting years and just coming out of drama school, and you're just out there, so nobody knows who you are, and you need to get into an agency, so your mission is pretty clear, right? You know exactly what you have to do. But let's say now you're in that agency, and now a couple of years have gone by, and you're not getting really booked, but it's there, right? You have your auditions, but nothing really is happening. So the next step needs to be done, right? And then again, that requires a certain amount of effort on your behalf. And then maybe you get your career eventually rolling, and you start getting some traction, starting getting your roles, and then it's important to scale this thing up and get better roles and bigger and bigger hits and book better projects. So another step needs to be done. So you see, there's always room for improvement. There's always the necessity for yourself to reinvent yourself, to make more and more out of your time, and to focus on what's essential in the context that you're in at the moment. And we have a couple of questions right away. A few people here in the chat room messaging me, so I'm really thankful for you guys. Thanks so much for joining the show once again. This is Serena Tasinato. Ciao Serena, ciao Lorenzo, sono iscritto al tuo canale, ti seguo con piacere, grazie mille, grazie per sostenerci. Anche la campanella è attiva, bravissima. Grind out a video means you need to activate the bell, right? If we grind a video out and you don't have the bell activated, you don't get notified. So make sure to not only subscribe like Serena is saying, but also to activate and to smash the bell. Grazie per il tuo video e per quello che fai, ma volentieri, veramente volentieri. Fa parte di restituire qualche cosa alla cultura, e questo è importante per mantenere la cultura viva, sana, è sempre in un costante stato di miglioramento, di richiesta, di esplorazione. Perciò grazie tantissimo per sostenerci, per essere qui, per commentare. Condividi anche questo video con la tua comunità creativa, se hanno voglia di imparare qualcosa di nuovo, magari avere un'idea di che cos'è la recitazione. Questo magari è il canale giusto, anche se in inglese, magari condividilo anche con loro, magari se è anche una buona motivazione per imparare un po' più di inglese. And here we have Citron. Hello, your videos and streams are always interesting. Greetings from someone who studies acting right now. Wow, it's an honor. Thank you so much, Citron, for joining the show today. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for the motivating words. It's beautiful to have people who are studying the craft right now, who are starting also joining the chats and joining our live streams, because it's all about creating that critical mass, that energy, that feedback. You guys see something, you absorb what's necessary, you discard what's useless, and then you go on and implement that. You will find out if that works, and that feedback is our nutrition, so we know exactly where to grow and what we need to improve. So that's beautiful to have that. Thank you so much, Citron, for that comment. So getting back to the never-ending quest of self-development as an actor, that goes hand in hand with finding the right connections. And I'm saying finding and not searching for a certain reason. That is actually accurate. I've chosen these words wisely, and that is seldom enough. Maria Capobianco, ciao Lorenzo, buona serata, sono Maria, ti seguo già da un po'. Grazie Maria, grazie mille, un cuoricino anche a te, grazie per seguirci. So why am I saying finding and not searching? Because I believe we are all connected. You are connected to your casting director. If you're an actor, you're already connected to your casting director, even though you might know him, or he didn't call you so far, even, right? You already are connected through the culture because you're both leeching of the same culture. Whoever is in marketing is already connected to his customer, and whoever needs to make an outstanding presentation or a sales pitch is already connected to the counterpart's brain and to the potential investment partner, to the hedge fund, or to whoever's like the venture capitalist in that case. We are all already connected. I want to emphasize on that fact to diminish the stress level in your brain. You don't need to search for something. You don't need to hunt the connection. You don't need to establish connection and rapport and relationship. That is already done by the universe by the time you were born. We are all connected. But what we need to do in order to make that connection stronger and more tangible and effective, we need to unearth, we need to explore to where this connection with my casting director or my CEO, where this connection is the strongest, what we share, what we have in common, what bonds us. We need to uncover that and not to find and search and establish a connection, because that is effort. That means putting energy in something that is not necessarily useful for what we need to do, display our creativity and show our skills and talents and deploy our message inside of the room. Serena ci scrive: grazie Lorenzo per la tua risposta, sicuramente imparo l'inglese. Bravissima, grazie a te, soprattutto la pronuncia, se non ricordo male quella maglietta bianca l'hai fatta tu, e anche il disegno, vero? Yes, that's my shirt actually, è vero, questa è la mia maglietta, l'ho fatta io. Sì, quando ho tempo creo arte o moda e questa è stata disegnata da me. Ne farò ancora un paio quest'anno, forse farò anche, non lo so, una sorta di concorso e le regalerò a qualche subscriber, perciò ti tengo già d'occhio, Serena, chissà, se ti piacciono magari vincerai una maglietta quest'anno, vediamo. So, coming back to this, we already have the connection. We can trust on that connection. Our self-esteem sometimes is so low in the room, or when we have to face our employer and our potential investment partners is so low, because we think, oh no, we have to create something now, right? We have to establish rapport and relationship. I have to come up with something funny or something tragic or dramatic and kind of search and then construct that relationship. And the same thing is also true for us actors, right? We are looking for a connection with the casting director, with the producer, with the directors out there. We're trying to connect to entertainment industry, where we need to change our mindset completely on that, because we are already connected. The moment you're starting to, with your studies, when it's about acting, the moment you're entering drama school, the moment you're opening up your monologue book, the moment you're journaling your experience in this beautiful creative world, in that moment you're already connected with the studio bosses. Even though you might not know them personally, they are working in the same culture that you want to be employed in, and they are already searching for you. They don't know it yet, but the moment they will find you, in terms of when you enter the room, they will realize and remember. They won't actually in that moment perceive, oh, this is my solution. They will remember, of course, this is exactly what I'm looking for. The bond is already there. We are all connected. I just want to emphasize this fact so much right from the start, because it's a mindset shift that you guys need to activate. Because what it does to our brain, when we're actors and we already feel that we are connected with the industry, with the casting director, with the relevant players in our field, that already lowers our stress hormones. It kind of wires our neurochemistry in a completely different way. It wires it to abundance, to to the self-esteem, to being in the right place, to being in the right culture, to being there already. It's just your mission as an actor to unearth the connections, the crossroads, where both interests, kind of both agendas, the agenda of the production and the agenda of the actors, where they actually cross, where they have like this cross hatch, where they have a bigger knot of communication, that you need to unearth as an actor and emphasize a little bit more, so they will remember and they will realize this is exactly the creative mind that we're looking for this production. Thank you for reminding us. That's what we need to do. So it's not about us establishing connection. It's just to remind them that we are already connected. It's not to reinforce and to search for validation and finally say, now we're connected. No, it is actually to search for the motives where you both share the same common turf. By you, I mean the casting director, the production company, and the director, and you as the actor, because it's you, the actor, who needs to have that self-worth display and that mindset of abundance, because he feels like he is safe in a culture and environment where he loves to be for the next couple of years. So there is already this connection. You already are investing your energy, your efforts into making yourself a greater character for the lens or for the audience to perceive. You're investing already tons of money and a lot of energy and a lot of all-nighters to kind of come up with a different product, with a better solution for the monologue, to come across as a more believable and genuine actor, and to have the right impact whenever you get called to action. You're already investing into entertainment industry. You're already there for a reason. Sometimes that detachment that happens from the mindset, that kind of creates the distance to the casting director and to the relevant people, because we don't perceive ourselves to be part of the culture, because nobody teaches us that. Nobody tells us, hey, you guys, you're not only actors, you are the fundamental contributor to this culture. You're part of a fertile soil that will blossom up in the future. You're already creating a successful future for yourself. You're not just sitting in your room and waiting for a call, because that's an isolated organism. That's an isolated, completely completely secluded type of mechanism that has nothing to do with the big clockwork, where it's actually the other way around. We are part of that clockwork. We already are part of that machinery, of that beautiful industry, because we are one of the gears that moves this whole thing. We're not at home, even though physically we might be at home, but we are part of the culture already. The moment we start opening up a book about monologues, a book about acting with method, about all the different techniques and the procedures and all the different applications that you have, we are already part of that. So if you put that switch on, you will understand I'm already surrounded by abundancy. I'm not isolated. I don't have to ask myself how to create connection and if I will ever be noticed or if there's a chance to be seen. You already are in the game. It's just about you to find the right moment to kind of find that right gap where you kind of fill in the right crack, where you kind of expand like water, like Bruce Lee always likes to say, right? Where you kind of assume and assimilate the new form, the new shape, instead of insisting that you are this lonely warrior somewhere, right? It's a beautiful kind of nostalgic, romantic type of picture, of image, right? Of a projection. Yeah, I'm this lonely actor. I have to fight against the world, and I have to convince them that I'm their guy, right? They need to hire me because I'm the best actress on this planet, right? Without me, they can't survive. No, it's without both of them, the culture can't survive. It's not me and the movie. It's not the movie and not the actor. It's the culture. It's this whole beautiful universe that we're part of. And like the universe with its many clusters, supernovas, neutrino stars, and nebulas, and accretion disks, and all that, and black holes, and all that, our universe is also full with anomalies, with contradictions, with things to explore, with dangerous territories, with dark territories. But we are part of all of that. We're not some recluse, that lives in a cavern that is waiting to get called. We are part of the culture. So our mindset should be, how can I contribute right now through my generosity, through my actions, through my passion, to make this culture better? How can I enrich the product, right? And just because I said this word again, leave a like right now. Just give us a thumbs up, and also activate the bell after subscribing to this wonderful channel, and leave also a comment here in the chat box. Already a couple of people, they shot us already some interesting stuff, and make sure also to contribute to this conversation and give us your feedback, give us your comment, let us know what you think about this. You get what I'm saying, right? It's a mindset change that involves you way more into the process, that involves you way more in this world, and lets you see this world through a different perspective, with a different view on this whole entertainment industry thing. Because once you understand, I'm part of this culture, if my contribution is valuable, and if I consistently grind out great stuff, great headshots, great monologues, if I always show up, if I'm always ready to perform, if I'm always working on my craft, on my skills, if I'm always adding something new to my toolbox, if I'm always fresh and I'm always around, then chances are I might get picked up, because all of the sudden we will uncover the connections that are already existing. I'm not forcing to construct a new connection. I'm just uncovering the connection that is already there. So my work is more that of an explorer, of a researcher, and not somebody who's trying to kind of weld things together, right? To kind of, put them and morph them together, whether or not they like themselves or not. These two elements, they need to fit, and they will fit in the moment that you will consistently just pay attention to what the best product is. I'm sorry for that. Does that make sense? So how can we connect to people? How can we do that? There's a book. It was printed in 1936. It's by Dale Carnegie. There is a book review on this channel about this book that was, I don't know how many times reprinted in history. I think it's one of the most reprinted books in the history of books, of literature. And I shot a book review about, it's somewhere here or over there, or just type in the link, book review. I got a playlist also with book reviews on my channel. I need to do a new book review though. Yeah, that's a good idea. I got some books that I definitely want to show you guys, and that I want to review, because there's some powerful stuff in there. But like I said, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People is sort of a guiding light. It's the perfect map that hasn't changed, that is absolutely timeless. So grab a cell phone, order this book, get this book into your system, understand it, read it again and again, understand what's written in there, and proceed exactly what Dale Carnegie advises you to do, right? Connect with the relevant players, ask them relevant questions, flatter them, praise them, make compliments, write them letter, try to uncover what your commonalities are, where you share bonds, what your same passions are. Try to understand what their background is, instead of seeing them as somebody who just hires you, or not, right? Who is schematically, subconsciously, just a representation of surviving or dying, right? Because if he doesn't hire me, right, he's not going to book me for this job, then I'm not going to make any money, and then I'm going to starve to death, right? So sometimes a casting director gets seen by the actor as sort of a grim reaper, right? As somebody who delivers death or life, where that's actually not true. It's you who's responsible. Us, the creative community, we are responsible over death and life. We are the creators, right? We are content creators constantly. So we need to come up with a product that's interesting. We need to create that life. We need to come up with solutions about the character, about the scene, about what's going on with all the different aspects of the scene, of the context, and need to fulfill that role as realistically and as passionately as possible. No holds barred. And once we create that amazing life, once we get into the room, we leave everything. We let go of our old shit. Like Matt Corazine always likes to say, by the way, check out our Talks and Acting. Amazing talk, great interview, superb human being. And I think there's a lot of stuff in that interview that you can use also to kind of sharpen your mindset whenever it comes down to creating these lasting connections. But getting back to that book, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's one of my guiding lights on how to do that, to get to the relevant players, because there are some tangible insights in that book that haven't really changed about how the dominant players think, what power does to the mind, and how we can kind of overcome that better trap, right? And not falling into this trap of thinking I'm worthless and I need to apply for this job. He needs to give me this job, so I will do everything in order to get this job. No, it's not about that. We share both the same culture. We share both the same interests. We are both relevant to the culture. And because if there are no actors anymore, right, what kind of movies do you want to shoot, right? So a producer needs an actor. The casting director loves the creative mind, right? The director, everybody's looking forward to somebody who delivers solutions in front of the camera or on the stage. Everybody's looking forward to somebody who brings something new to the table, who discovers something that wasn't discovered before. So we want to support these people. But if your mindset is that of, please give me this role, I beg you, right? I need this, right? Otherwise I will die, right? Neediness is the last thing that we want inside of our brain to control our actions, because that will only trigger neurochemistry that is toxic for our body, for our speech. It will kind of freeze us, and it won't make us at all believable and likable also. Where if we are relaxed, if we are in a state of mind where we feel at ease with our instruments and secure about what we're doing, and when we're loving what we're showing, and if that all comes into play and we have the right structure with it, then everything that we do is quite enjoyable. And if we enjoy ourselves and we do our very best, the people who will perceive us, watch us, who will be on the other side of the desk, on the other side of the camera, they will enjoy what we're doing as well. And that creates that connection, that unearths the connection. All of a sudden it's so obvious. Wow, he's exactly what we need. She is perfect for the role. He will be a great fit for our team. This is exactly what we need for that movie. Lucia refs. Ciao Lorenzo. Ciao a te, Lucia. You get what I'm saying, right? The connection is already there. You don't need to construct a connection. Read this book by Dale Carnegie, or get the book review into your system and understand the core principles of that book, which is not that complicated, to be honest. It's about fighting the ego a little bit more than we might think of. Our ego needs to be fought in some ways, or at least controlled, or at least tamed to a degree where it's just useful as critical mass to get steam behind our actions. But our ego is never to be taken over our actions, because that will just drive us into misery, right? We need a healthy ego that wants to be acknowledged. But then again, our ego is sometimes standing in the way when it's about praising other people, when it's about admitting their quality, when it's about bonding with other people and giving up something of what is yours, and kind of taking in something from someone else. That's what acting in the end is all about. And sometimes we are so much enamored with our work because we put so much effort into it, that even if sometimes people want to help us by giving us the right directions, let's say we're in the room and the casting director just wants to kind of improve our speech a little bit and give us a tweak here and there, to make this even more beautiful, because he believes that you have the potential to kind of book this role, then sometimes our ego plays tricks on us and tells us, no, he doesn't understand my message, right? Or he's attacking my work, because we identify with the work. Of course, when we put a lot of effort, a lot of labor, a lot of hours into an audition prep, we identify with this role. That's what's actually necessary, right? To kind of display that imaginary life in a believable way. But what we do then is we kind of take things the other way around, right? It's the wrong mindset. It's the mindset of convincing someone else of my quality instead of just showing something great. Then all of a sudden we identify with our work so much that we get offended personally if something about the performance might not seem to be exactly what the casting director is actually looking for. Sometimes the casting director just asks you to do something else because he wants to see how fast you are in adapting. Sometimes the casting director has seen the same audition for 2 weeks straight, and everybody's interpreting pretty much this scene, this casting in the same manner. So he's kind of fed up with it, and he's now telling you to change the route completely and to go down a completely different path, which might seem illogical to you. But instead of arguing and defending your position and being offended and letting your ego take over, your system, you should always take a step back first and think, right now, this might seem like logical or kind of, senseless to me, but I could also see it as a possibility of showing something that I haven't prepared, and that might surprise me, because in the end, if I'm surprised, then the audience will be surprised as well, which of course creates a bond. Again, we unearth the connections by assimilating the directions, by knowing exactly what our counterpart means, and by adjusting and showing character and a good spirit, by taking something in that you might even consider senseless or illogical or irrational or not part of your audition prep. It doesn't really matter. Maybe it's just a test to see how flexible mentally you are, how great it is, how great you are in adapting and assimilating ideas right on the spot. And you don't need to jump the shark right from the start because somebody is just not satisfied with what you're delivered. Again, don't identify with the product just because you put so much labor in it. Of course, it's easier said than be done. And of course, the tone plays an important part. And sometimes, the tones and the voices, they might get raspy inside of the room, and things sometimes are a bit rough, and people throw things at you. It's not always easy to deal with all that. I admit that, but it kind of shows what kind of character you have, what kind of stamina you have, and how flexible and adaptable you are, and at the same time without ever leaving that stronghold of craftsmanship that you've built for yourself, that you fortified over the years, and that you secured by knowing exactly what the outcome is when you talk in a certain way, when you display in a certain way, when you do the actions, and when you create that magic, right? You know that already. So let it go. It's not yours. It's the message of the author. It's the will of the director. And it's your creature that they're all coming together to create this new magnificent picture. And you're just part of that culture, and you need to unearth the connections and not to find them or construct them. And that is exactly how it's been done. Like in a practical terms of how do I need to do it when I get called to action, and also in a tactical way before I get even into the room. Can I make sure to create a connection with these people, right? Show up at their events and let your face be seen in the bars and in the relative, important places where usually the relevant players hang out and dominant players hang out and the decision makers hang out. Just be there. They know exactly who you are. They will perceive that. They might not know you yet, but they know you are part of the culture, right? You don't need to approach them in a clumsy way just because you're asking for a job, because that's not what you're doing. You're not asking for a job. You're asking for the opportunity to fortify a common culture. If you go there with this mindset of abundancy and relaxed, and that relaxed state of mind that already kind of tells you subconsciously, you don't need to stress the fuck out just because you're not getting this or that role, because you're part of the culture, which is already a privilege. So it will be a role eventually, and then you can show everything you got. You don't need to force things. You need just to show people what kind of connections you have, right? So tactically, that means if you show up in these places, if you call the relevant players, if you might ran into them at certain events, or even accidentally. There are no accidents, like Master Ugo always said. I know there are no coincidences, right? There are no accidents. It's always part of the universal fabric that we are all woven in, and we're all connected. So when we do, then share something interesting instead of trying to be interesting. Share something that is yours, and don't be afraid of sharing that very personal moment. You might run into a producer, right, into Starbucks, and he's picking up a coffee and you're picking up a coffee, and you're just looking at it, and then just share something. The last time I saw your movie, my mom was still alive, and she always told me, "Ah, I love the movies by this and this production company, or by this and this director, or by this actor. They always let me laugh, or they always make me think about my childhood." And it's true, right? Just share this little moment. It's like, "Oh, thank you for sharing that." "Oh, really? Yeah. Are you an actor?" "Yes, I am." "Okay. And you got an agency?" "Yeah, I got a talent manager just around the corner, and I'm looking for new jobs." And yeah, so here I am, right? He knows already what you want. You don't need to emphasize that, but kind of emphasize what kind of culture, what kind of character you are, and what kind of culture you'd like to be in. And he already would think about, he might fit into this role. He might fit into my next project. Or I don't like him at all. Why? Because right now he comes across as being too needy, or she's not just the type of person I'm looking for. There might be thousands of reasons for you being turned down at an audition, or even before that, like by an agent or anything like that. But there are also thousands of reasons that have anything to do with you as a person, right? There might be different variables out there that might, be of fundamental importance when it comes down to book a certain actor or not. And that has sometimes nothing to do with the craft or yourself. And when you're thinking about connection, it's all about really listening also to these people, and not trying to speak all the time, but to absorb exactly what their message is. And by closely listening to what they're saying, you create a bond by enforcing the understanding and not the preposition that you have, right? I have a value preposition. I'm such a great actor. I'm perfect for your next project. Let me show you that. No, no, just listen. And by actively listening to someone, and he will perceive that, and really understanding what he's saying, and really kind of following his path of thoughts, and really also absorbing and emphasizing his emotions, right? And feeling that empathy, and really kind of co-feeling what he's going through when he's telling you that already shows him, is like, oh, okay, there's like an interesting bond. He is somebody who's actually listening to me. And then you can answer, and it will be a spontaneous, truthful, genuine answer. Connection is all about listening, about being there and sharing what's most important to you and to the culture in that moment, and not to what you think you should say in order to impress, in order to get a job, because that's manipulation. And people are fed up with manipulation, with being, you know, kind of driven and engineered, and kind of, geared up to react in a certain way, and to have they are fed up with all that. I don't want to be manipulated by anybody, whether by my friends, by politicians, and certainly not by the ones who are inhabiting this beautiful culture, that are part of this entertainment industry, that are part of performance, of drama, of arts, right? We want to be brothers and sisters in a way. And of course, certain jobs I can't book, and I have to respect that, because right now the people who are relevant, they have, chosen someone else. They're going into a different direction. They're looking for something else, and that is legitimate. It's their money, and they choose how to invest it. But in the moment you're coming across as someone who is self-confident, who is joining the culture because he wants to make a contribution, who is passionate about what he's doing, and he's connecting in an authentic way, in that moment people will recognize, oh, that person, that actor, that actress, she's here for the long run, right? We're not going to get rid of her, right? So we might also get her into our next edition. We might as well also book her right away, because otherwise she's gonna stress the fuck out. And no, but seriously, you get what I mean, right? That consistency is part of being a genius. Sometimes a genius, it's undecipherable if you are a genius or just a stubborn person, right? If you're just stubborn, you just follow your program, don't matter what other people think. I don't care, I'm stubborn, right? And I will get to the solution. I will find my spot, right? I will come up with something unique. I need to be stubborn, right? I need to drill myself through this. And that is sometimes irrecognizable from being a genius. Stubbornness and geniusness, they are very close related to each other. and you need to have that. You can't give up right away, because culture will test you. Culture will make sure to filter who's good for the culture and who's not, who can make a contribution that will last. We're always looking for something that is timeless, and that connection that we have with the universe, with this field, with the culture itself, and also with the relevant people will be timeless. It's not about a certain project, a certain movie, or a certain casting. It's about showing that you can make a contribution to this art and where you at this moment. You're not in the room to book the job. You're there to show how important culture is and what your contribution in this moment to that culture is. That is where you can reinforce the connection that is already there, instead of trying to search for a non-existent connection, because the connection is already there. You already are connected. You don't have to worry about that. How can I connect to the environment? How can I connect to this? You guys are connected already. Just make sure to invest in your work and to make it as good as you can every time you get called to action. And also exercise your craft whenever you can. Work on your skills whenever you can, and reinforce what you have already inside of you, and kind of fill up the blanks where you feel like there is something missing in order to be an even better performer. And I might need to get that as soon as possible into my system, so I will look out for this type of product. And that's exactly the way how you approach a workshop. You're not saying, hoping, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm searching for a certain product to make my product even better. I'm searching for this tool that you specifically can offer in order to reinforce something that's already there, existing. The bond is already there. The connection is already there. I just need to reinforce that connection. I just need to make it better. And there's somebody who will perceive, all right, this is somebody who approaches the acting endeavor, entertainment industry in a completely different way, with a different mindset. And it's beautiful to get called to action. And it's, of course, a bummer, a downer, and something bad when you get turned down, when you're not booking the role. But it's about what your contribution is to the culture in that moment, and you're doing it in that moment. Because it's bigger than you. It's bigger than the casting director. It's bigger even than this project. Right? This is a contribution to eternity. And you should feel privileged to be, part of that, and to have the opportunity to do that. The connection is already there. Trust on that. This is how you make great connections, by reinforcing something that's already there with abundance and with a relaxed state of mind, instead of desperately searching for something that might sound clever, that might, ring a bell, or that might, kind of turn the spotlight and the sky beam into my direction for a couple of minutes. What is it good for if the sky beam is there just for a couple of minutes? If it's not there eternally, right? You can turn it around very slowly by executing the right steps at the right time. And when is it the right time? When you're doing it. This is the right time. You have to create before you speak, before you wish, before you ask for something. Create first. Be generous with this talent, right? You're coming out of drama school. You're not waiting. You're recording monologues, going to workshops, and connect with the people by listening to them, because everybody is interesting. Everybody can make a contribution. I feel like one of the reasons we're not really closely listening to what people are saying, because we deem what they are saying not as important as what we are trying to say. But actually, after they said something, and that might make a lot of sense, you can implement that in your speech and make your speech right from the start even better. Instead of just executing a preconceived plan, just try to implement something on the spot that is happening in front of you, because that will just make your plan even bigger. That will make your speech even better, and that will create substantial genuinity, right? You are genuinely interested in making this conversation a great conversation. So when you run into someone who's a relevant player, like by coincidence, which of course is not true, because it's not a coincidence, always search for something that you can both speak about. Is something happened there? Like, is like loud noise? Is something happening in here? Is there a bad smell? Are the clothes you guys are wearing fancy? Do you guys have something similar? You both have a dog. Is there something that you can talk about and have a conversation, like a nice, vivid, funny conversation about something that's important to obviously both of you? That is way better than just talking about acting or the next project. Remember what Stanislavski always said: the human being that you are is a thousand times more interesting than the best actor you could ever hope to be. Right? That is the fundamental part. Show him the human being. How can you do that? By actively listening and uncovering what the connection is and emphasizing that connection, that passion, because you're both human beings that are also interested in other stuff. And in the way that you are interested in the other stuff, you might now, of course, argue, yeah, if I talk about the other stuff, I don't show him that I'm an actor. He knows that you're an actor and the way that you are talking about stuff, but the way that you are approaching certain topics and the way that you are talking about certain issues, that shows him how you will act out a scene that is revolving around that topic, that issue, or how you approach like a passionate speech, or how you express something that is sad or something that happened to you, like a trauma. He will perceive that by the way you talk about something that is completely situated somewhere completely else. Because I feel the same thing when I love to talk about coaching. I love to talk about acting, about entertainment industry. I love to talk about movies, but sometimes I wish to kind of, talk about it in an abstract way. Not only about the movie, not only about the production value, not only about the actors, but take it to another level. Try to see it in a philosophical way. What does this movie mean to you? What does this performance mean to you? What kind of, is there anything that this performance reminds you of? Or is this triggering a certain emotion, or is this taking you somewhere? Talk about that, because that it has way more insights instead of just taking it one for one and just speaking about it on the fact about what you think about it. Just take it on a different plane, on a different dimension, and then you can start also going crazy with your language and showing how you can involve somebody into a discussion in an abstract way about something that you both share in terms of passion and in terms of job description, in terms of what the next interests are, right? That the interests are. And that is way more powerful because it creates a connection, because all of a sudden you don't come across as being a needy person. Makes sense so far? Please let me know in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, by the way, here at the COACHMC studio, we create those live streams like this one right here. We also interview great and relevant players in our respective industry, great acting coaches. So you can check out talks on acting, but we also have mindset videos and also career strategy videos. So you might consider subscribing and coming back to this channel after smashing the bell. That will remind you kindly and humbly that we grinded out a new video. Pretty much every week there is something for every pilot out there. So make sure to be part of this creative community at the COACHMC studio. And if you got any other inquiries, comments, questions, or maybe the crazy desire to create something with me over here with the COACHMC, maybe a monologue, maybe an audition, maybe you want to spice up your show reel by inserting like a new reel and new tape. Maybe there's a presentation coming up or a negotiation, or you need to kind of stand in front of an audience and sell a product and you don't exactly know where to start and how to do it. Well, contact me through my website. It's the coachmc.studio, right? Write me something nice, like a nice love letter to the culture and what we can do all together. And if we find out in a little, free 30 minutes, get to know each other class, if we find out that we're a great match for each other, we can dive into the adventure and do something marvelous for both of us, because it's not just me giving, it's also me receiving a lot from my students, from my clients, and from the people I have the incredible and tremendous pleasure and privilege to work with, because it's a never-ending loop of energy, of feedback, of creativity. And we're here for that, the COACHMC studio. That's why we're creating those live streams, to give you tangible instruments like this one, to understand that the connection is already there, and the way that you approach people is the way that you also like to be approached. And this is so marvelously written down by Dale Carnegie in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Influence doesn't mean manipulating people. It's influencing them and just, polluting them with your ideas, with your thoughts, with your passion, kind of to be this contagious human being that kind of shoots out of his pores whatever his interests are. And that doesn't mean that you need to be an extrovert and outgoing and flamboyant and gregarious all the time. It just means that you're really open and passionate about your craft, and you can express that in many ways. But as soon as I hit that button and I see that there's a lot of critical mass coming out of you, when I see that there are a lot of bonds and really interesting connections, and if I understand and realize that you are somebody who's great to talk with, to have a conversation with, if you're a knowledgeable person, then it doesn't really matter if you're an extrovert, if you are or phlegmatic. It doesn't really matter if you are very energetic or very low key. It's just about the content, the quality of the content, and what the core essence of you actually is. If that is perceivable and clear to see and to hear, then you will have already that attention that you're always craving for. You don't need to kind of, run against that wall and scream top of your lungs, why is nobody paying attention to me, right? They're already doing it. Your guys are already connected. It's about finding the right slot and making that impact, making that breakthrough happening for you with the right arguments, by being that person that somebody loves to conversate with, and instead of just, no, I need to focus, I need to be concentrated, right? I can't give away any information from me because that will just distract me. That's bogus. If you feel comfortable when you're talking about your stuff, that means your stress hormone level will lower significantly, your dopamine level will increase, you will feel way more relaxed and comfortable, and way more in your skin, and then you're also ready to perform in a way better way. It's a completely different ballpark. It's a completely different game then, if you switch, if you make that mindset switch happening for you. And it's really just a way of exercising that and being consistent about believing that this is true, that the connection is already there, and not by the first problem, obstacle, kind of switching back to the old mindset and said, no, I have to fight to get in, right? They need to pay attention, right? I have to, right, convince them of how great I am. No, you don't. You need to show them how great of a match you are for that team, and how beautiful your craft is, and how manifold your talent can be, and how this could, possibly positively impact the production value overall. This is what you need to show, and you can do that by being just a human being, because that's the most interesting part. Don't put on a show, don't put on a play. It's a play anyway. They know exactly what you're there for, you know exactly what they're there for, and it's sometimes a hard business, but in the end, it's a very, people say, entertainment industry, it's a business full of liars and impersonators and doppelgangers and all that. And then, to a certain extent, it's true. We have to deal with a lot of lies and setbacks, but it's a very honest business in terms of the evaluation that happens on the spot. You immediately recognize if something works or not by the energy. They don't even need to say anything. You know it already yourself. Like, I screwed this up. This wasn't my best shot. Okay, I need to do some more work in the future, or I was trying to wing it. It's not, it's not working out. I need to go full in, right? I need to thoroughly embrace the whole challenge and nothing else, because that shows, again, your character. And the character creates the connection. The way that you react, the way that you work shows your inclinations. It shows what tendencies you have, what kind of work ethic you have. And that is the connection that you want to create. By showing that, you are demonstrating what kind of piece of the puzzle you are. And if you are that missing piece of the puzzle, they're gonna call you back and back. And eventually you will book that role and you will take it from there. And again, once you are in that game, right? Once you are inside of the city, once the Trojan horse functioned and worked, and the strategy kind of, because it's not a strategy, it's you, right? So once it worked, you have to continuously, put and invest in making this even better, and creating even deeper connections, and asking questions, relevant questions, and praising the people, and having the time to conversate with them for real, and understanding what their thing is for real. And also do some investigative work, right? Research the people you're working with. I feel that lowers my stress hormones a lot when I know exactly what kind of environment I have to face, what kind of context I'm going to present my monologue, my speech, what kind of people I might potentially run into when I'm, visiting this restaurant or going to this event, and preparing myself of encountering a certain type of personalities, and knowing what type of personalities there are, because you've researched what kind of work they're doing and what the expressions are. If you can follow them on Twitter and see what they are saying. You can follow them on Facebook and what are their interests. You can follow them on LinkedIn, like what is their education. You can follow them on Instagram. Where did they go for vacation? There are many facets that you can absorb through quite regular, pretty normal type of investigation. In a couple of minutes, you can find out amazing things about the people you like to impact with your craft. And that will help you definitely to kind of create that mindset of delivering exactly what you might think that these people are actually searching for, what they are all about, because that's your passion as well. We are always presenting our roles in a different context, and that's why we have to adapt. So the same thing is true for us as being, the human beings and not only the actor. When we are going into different auditions, into different casting offices, we need to know exactly what kind of context is that here. What is the usual opinion about this casting director, and what kind of project was he involved in? And you can recognize so many things by doing a little bit of research, by understanding the signature of that person. You understand the psyche, and that kind of uncovers what kind of critical mass this casting director, this production officer, this director is mostly concerned of, and that gives you a very important hint on what you should focus and where you should kind of channel your energy to, and what you should kind of put the most effort in to kind of unearth that connection, because you want to discover as well, as humbly as possible, if he is a great match. Not only you offering yourself on the altar and be sacrificed, yes or no, life or death, getting the job or being miserable. No, it's about also, do I want to work here for real? Like, really asking questions that are relevant to you, because you want to find out if this is the environment you want to be, involved in for the next couple of weeks, where you want to put your soul, your passion, and your energy in. Because that, again, it's not so much about saying no or yes. It's about the mental attitude that you will have and you will display subconsciously, automatically. If you've done the right research, you know exactly, well, this might not be the most suitable team I've ever worked with, or the most suitable project I want to do right now. So, just take it easy, just evaluate it, slowly and calmly. Don't say yes, don't rush uh, heels over toes into this decision, right? That shows the casting director and the relevant players, the counterpart brains, also like, okay, he seems to have that kind of self-worthiness. She seems to be very aware of what she's worth and who she is. And that professional attitude gets appreciated a lot, because we don't want yay sayers to everything. We want also responsible people who, might evaluate, I'm not really your guy. I'm not really your girl. I'm just here to show you what kind of contribution I make to the culture. Probably this is not the best project we can start working with together, but I just wanted to make sure to be here because you guys are just awesome, and you're part of the game as well as I am. So let's find out maybe for the next project if we are a great match. So if you're coming with that type of message into the room, showing exactly right from the start, not in an arrogant or polemic way, that you don't necessarily need to get booked to be happy for this exact job, because you feel like that you might not be 100% the 100% match, but at least you want to show your appreciation and respect for the culture, and trying to deliver the best work possible. That would show he's a pro. This is definitely the mindset of a responsible creator that we want to get involved with in the future as well. So this is long-term consistency, relationship building, by uncovering what your bonds are, what the similarities, the commonalities are, and what you kind of share when it comes down to appreciation of the culture, of the industry, and of what's really important, and what kind of angle you're coming from, where you're delivering your speech, and also understanding where he's coming from, to kind of find out that. And that will already put you in a different mindset. That will already make you less needy and way more in the moment, way more appreciating what you're doing right now, because all of a sudden you don't feel the urge of nailing it, of impressing by all means, but just showing that and just leaving that there to be observed afterwards. This is my performance. You got it on tape. Have so much fun with it. It was a blast being here. Thank you so much. See you next time, right? And then can evaluate if you're the right match or not. But don't stay and play too long, right? Just show and go. And this is the bell ringing right now in the background. And I think we hit 60 minutes on the spot. And maybe this is a sign that wasn't an accident at all. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking with us till the end. If you made it so far, please consider subscribing, right? Just humbly ask for that, and leave a comment in the comment section below what you thought of this, and if you thought this video had value to you on how to create that connection and how to establish yourself as being part of an abundant culture, instead of seeing yourself in that scary position, in that cavern, as an isolated item, an asset that will never be used. You already are an asset, because you're already putting in some energy and some effort. You're already making that contribution. So that will change everything, because the connection is already there. You just need to reinforce it instead to search it and then weld it together against the will of your counterpart's brain. No, you guys are both sharing the same passion, both sharing the same interests and values. Sometimes we need a little bit of that spice more, and then sometimes a little more of the other spice. But eventually, it's all about showing that quality and having that self-esteem that once your contribution is big enough and the critical mass is hit, you will get your response, you will get your result, and you will, you will be able to navigate through that channel, because now the channel is filled with juice, with critical mass, with water that flows, and just be like water, my friend, right? No holds barred. So make sure also to check out our adventures on the COACHMC, where it's Instagram, where we have some art stuff going on, also some acting tips in various languages, also always crazy stuff and some projects, events. And yeah, if there's anything else you want to know, please contact me through my website. It's thecoachmc.studio. And this is, I think, the end for this live stream. Thank you so much to Serena, Citron, Maria, Serena, Lucia, all these beautiful people showing up in the chat room. Thanks for your comments, for your feedback. See you next time, guys, with the next video. Now you're ready to perform.